Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Production House with your host, Kareen Joseph. And today I have a very special guest, Yanis. So, Yanis, please tell the audience tell the audience a bit about yourself.
A bit about myself. My name is Yanis. I'm a CUTV member. It's been maybe two and a half years that I've joined this wonderful production house. Yes, I'm a video producer. I teach the Adobe Premiere workshop, the editing workshop here.
What interested
A bit
you
about
in
myself.
CUTV?
What interested me in CUTV? So I didn't know about CUTV, just like most people. I didn't know this place existed. I used to make music. I still make music. I made beats, and I always had visuals that came. I would make music, and I had images that propped up in my mind, but it was always kind of sort of grandiose images, like a pirate ship in the middle of the ocean, or like dragons tap dancing in the moonlight.
Dragons tap dancing. Now, that's something I'd love to see.
Yeah, I was trying to soundtrack these moments through the music, but obviously I didn't have the resources or the knowledge on how to create those images. So I kind of put it aside. I just focused on the music. And then one day I had a class where we had the choice of either writing an essay for the final project, or we could create sort of a piece of media, a video. He offered a video, and he said, you know what, you guys could go to CUTV, it's at Concordia. You can borrow equipment, and they have an editing suite as well where you could edit your project. So it's all there for you if you choose to go through that route. And I said, oh, cool. I'll check it out. I don't want to write anything. I'm not down to write. I didn't feel like writing essays. I was sick of it.
Okay.
So I figured I would. That was my chance to create a video.
I feel the same way. I'm thinking back to like my days in high school where a teacher would give us an assignment, and if one of the options was to create a video, I would make a video like every time. Without fail. It's like, I don't want to write nothing. I don't want to do research if I don't have to. Like, if I can visually showcase the idea and get the idea across to my peers and to the teacher, and they love it, brilliant.
Yeah, of course. It was a no-brainer for me. No, actually, first I went to he mentioned two organizations at Concordia.
Okay.
CUTV and another one that shall not be named.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize Voldemort was being introduced, but okay.
We're not going to talk about them. No, actually, they're super cool. It's just, so I went to them first.
Okay.
Because I made music, so I wanted to explore that side first. I checked it out. First of all, it was kind of far. It was at Loyola as well, and they weren't that welcoming or anything. I just came in like a little kid, like, hey, I'm trying to join. I have this project, this dream. And they were kind of like, yeah, fill out this form and get back to us. I didn't feel welcome. I didn't feel comfortable. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not going to spend my time there. That's not really something I'd like to pursue. So then I went to CUTV. I climbed those millions of stairs. I was tired.
Right. Yes.
I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What is this place? This old ass building. And so I just knocked on the door, and there were two guys who used to work here. They don't work here anymore. And they were Fahim and Chico. I remember they were just like, hey, come in. There used to be a couch in the office.
Ooh, okay.
There was only 2 staff members, and we just sat together and we talked for like an hour about my project. They're like, oh man, we can help you do this, do that. Come back like tomorrow and we'll give you a workshop on how to use the equipment. And I was like, oh my God, it's on. Now I got the resources. I got those guys who can guide me. I'm going to make the best project of all time.
And let me guess, you got an A on that project.
Yeah, actually I failed that class.
Oh no! Oh no!
I was like, I was kind of a perfectionist on that project. I didn't even submit it because I felt like it wasn't ready.
Oh no.
I felt like it was done, but I felt like I could improve it. I could still improve it. And then yeah, I didn't submit it at all. I was like, no, it's not ready. Fuck that.
Well, that's what deadlines are for. They are the perfectionist's best friend,
Yeah.
because it's like if you it's like this is when I need it, but it's not ready. Well, you either this is the drop dead deadline. You submit it or you die.
I died. I didn't want to show it to the teacher not in its final form, so. But I guess it worked out because I did learn how to use the equipment now, so it was worth my time.
So, Yanis, I personally have seen you work on multiple projects here at CUTV. Can you tell us about your most recent project?
My most recent project?
Or a project you are currently working on at the moment?
Yeah, does it have to do with CUTV?
It doesn't have to be CUTV related. It can be personal.
Yeah, okay. So, do you have any other questions?
Oh yeah, I got plenty of questions. We can, if you'd like, we can come back to the.
This is sketchy.
I know. In regards to video production.
Yes.
What is your favorite part of the medium, and what part brings you the most frustration?
I love to be outside filming. By far my favorite part.
Right.
It feels like a video game. I feel like Indiana Jones or something. We're kind of like, especially the way we film, or the way I film at least, it's kind of to a certain extent like a one-man band, where like you take care of the sound, you take care of the cinematography, you're kind of directing in your mind as well, talking to if you have an actor, or if you're doing an interview or something like that. So you're kind of juggling all these things at once. You're trying to find the right angle, and you're looking at the sun, and da-da-da-da. And then I like that. I love that.
Right.
I feel like I'm really in the moment, and then you're checking your exposure at the same time, figuring out the technical things, and you have to look around as well if you're walking. So I love that. That's by far my favorite. It feels like a video game. It feels like I'm just like on a big
For those
playground.
of you, for our audience listening, I've seen a bunch of Yanis's work, and for the longest time I was like, dude, like we have to go out filming something, because I need to see how you get all these awesome shots. I'll give you an example. So there's this choreography production house that Yanis did a video for. So this guy is in his apartment, he's studying, and he loses focus, and then he goes to the kitchen and he grabs this energy drink, and the next thing that happens is he does a backflip, but then he's in all of these different locations, and at the end of the backflip he ends up back on his couch, and he's totally focused on his work. And I thought that was very, very cool visually. And as someone who loves video production, someone who's made their own movies, that's definitely something I am trying to improve upon, because it's like being the captain of a ship. Like you don't need to, being the captain, you are not responsible for doing every single job, but you gain more respect if you understand how each part is supposed to run. Yeah. So even though I've filmed the majority of my own projects, I'm always looking for ways to improve and make the cinematography more interesting and engaging for the audience.
Yeah, I love it. I love that analogy. It's beautiful. I mean, for the record, I didn't do the editing on that video. It was match cuts, Edgar Wright style. I love that style, but yeah, that was my apartment. If you see that video, it's my couch right there.
So what gives you, like, what to you do you think is like the biggest challenge in video production?
The biggest challenge, the biggest challenge would be video editing.
Okay.
In the sense that I said my favorite part was going outside and being very present in the moment.
Right.
Editing is kind of, you have to be in your mind and you have to see the whole film in your head, and you're staring at a computer screen for hours and you're kind of hypnotized by it. You enter a certain groove,
Right.
which is awesome. I love that. But, and then when you hit a roadblock, something doesn't work. You're missing a piece that you forgot to film.
Yes.
The sound is not the way you had hoped for. Or,
Right. It's like a puzzle, but
Totally.
but you're the one who has to. It's like, okay, so like when you have like a puzzle, like you have a box of pieces. It's like you have the image, you know exactly how it's gonna look, and you know you have all the pieces that you need to to create that image. But when you finally get to that editing portion, you know how you want it to look, but then you find yourself missing a piece, and it's like you're trying to create a jigsaw puzzle from scratch. It's like you know what you need to do to make it happen, but somewhere along the line you're missing something, and the full image is not quite there. I totally get that. It's so frustrating. You're like, why?
That's it. Exactly. You have all the raw materials.
Right.
You're trying to create a beautiful sculpture
Right.
that you have in your mind, like Michelangelo. But if you're missing the right piece, you have to take something else to put a nose. Just cut the nose off.
Cut the nose off. It's like, nah, I don't need this. It's a sculpture. It doesn't need to breathe. What is this?
Perfect.
So, say for example, take a movie or a television show or a piece of music or poetry. Like, out of all of those, do you have a particular favorite or something that stands out to you that you can take inspiration from?
I love filmmaking, obviously. The reason why, though, is because, and that's the one I'm sort of pursuing, I love it because it kind of encompasses everything that I like about art, whether it's the music,
Right.
through the soundtrack and through the beats of the music, the way the film flows and the rhythm and the sound effects and all that, sound design, and maybe fashion, the way the people are dressed, the way they look, the costumes, the art direction of it, the color palettes of the image. It's kind of like a painting that you're literally, if you're doing the cinematography.
Right.
All that, the dialogue, it's kind of like comedy. I like that. It's everything, the history of it. So I like that filmmaking encompasses a lot of these elements. But I would say probably music by far is what inspires me the most. I get all my inspiration from music. I listen to a song, and that's the root of millions of things will spring out of that.
Do you have a favorite song?
It changes every week. A favorite song, that's so hard. It's
Or say maybe like an artist that you've known of them like for years, and there's maybe an album or a song from them that you keep going back to no matter what.
Yeah, I can say that I love the music. I'd say Kanye West inspired me a lot
Okay.
because he's a producer and he's a rapper, and he always made sure that his outfits matched the music and the beats matched the music, and then his interviews. Okay, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that.
Take your time.
I'd say Kanye West was the biggest inspiration because, especially at the start of his career, he was mainly producing music
Right.
albums, and he was known for chopping samples, basically,
Okay.
taking old 70s soul samples and giving them a modern twist, adding raps on top of it, using pop culture references, and boom, that's his sauce. And he became successful by using kind of this formula. But I would always go back and check out the samples and learn from that. Where did he get his music from?
Right.
what inspired him? Who was he trying to channel? He was trying to channel the RZA. Who's the RZA? Oh, he's the founder of the Wu-Tang Clan. Oh, who's the Wu-Tang Clan? Oh, they were doing mathematics and this kung fu. Oh, cool. And so he was kind of the springboard to all these different elements and sources of knowledge that inspired me. So I learned a lot through him and his choices of clothing. Martin Margiela, he referenced Martin Margiela. Who is Martin Margiela? Oh, why is he choosing to go to Paris instead of New York in this fashion show? And anyways.
So thank you for that, because it, well, I mean, I'm serious,
Yeah.
because it's like I like to boil it down to this, and for the record, I've never said this before, I'm just saying it now, but you know the saying, learn from the greats. Well, okay, these people are great for multiple reasons, but it's also a good idea, what were the greats, what was their inspiration? Because you don't create something from nothing. Like even like say you see a painting of like a field of flowers. Well, what was the inspiration for that? You know, it could have been as simple as this artist saw a field of flowers and they wanted to do a painting of that. And then for the viewer, they take inspiration, not because it was a field of flowers, but because of the technique that was used. So it's multiple different things, and what you said about Kanye West and the Wu-Tang Clan, and like you're kind of going backwards in understanding the beginning of each group's like where they're getting their inspiration from and what they're trying to take from it. I know there's a point to this. I've just kind of forgotten what I was trying to say. But yeah, it's very good, because I know for me, when I was growing up, I would see something that I thought was cool and I was like, I want that. So for example, I remember back in my early days of editing, I think this was like 2006, 2007. One thing that I would see on YouTube are, you would have two different clips and they'd be taking up half of the screen. And I was like, I want to do that. and at the time I only had Windows Movie Maker, and I'm like, I was like, I can't do that because Movie Maker doesn't allow for that. But eventually, I think it was like back in 2010, 2011, I finally got Final Cut Pro 10. And I could finally do that. I was like, yes! Actually, no, let me rephrase that. It wasn't 2010, it was before that. I was using like this trial version of Sony Vegas. And that's when I was finally able to have like the split screen down the middle. I was like, yes! Finally, I can do the thing. And I was excited, but here's the thing. That was the technical side. That was the technical element that I wanted. You know, I didn't know, like, I wanted, because I thought it looked cool. I didn't understand like what the initial intent was for. Like, aside from the obvious, you can show two different clips at the same time, or you know. And the only reason why I wanted it was because I thought it looks cool. But now when you get older and when you start to figure out the things that you want, you start to figure out the why. Like, why do I want to do this? So with you, you know, with your inspirations, and you're sifting through history, figuring out why everyone is doing why they did what they did. When you figure out the why, when you figure out their why, it helps you figure out your why. Because for some people, they are doing these things in order to answer a question or solve a problem. So for you, I don't know what your why is, but, you know, I know you're going to be able to, you know, see it and figure it out. And I've seen your work. So I know you know, like, the technical side. So it's like, oh, man, I can't wait to see what Yanis is going to cook up next. Like, for example, you've recently created an Instagram account for you are starting your own production company, and recently you had a story on, you released a story on Instagram. I don't remember what it was exactly, but like I remember I came in one day and you were in Photoshop and you were putting these different images that were completely unrelated, but you were making this collage now, and I was like, why are you doing this? And you gave me an answer, and it was just really cool, like to just to see, just to see, like, you know, the behind the scenes. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, when you're looking at all these famous individuals, it's like you are so far removed from them that, yeah, you can go on Wikipedia and look up, you know, documents on why they're doing what they're doing, but you don't really have the opportunity, unless you know them personally, you don't really have the opportunity to go up to them and ask them, okay, why are you making this artistic choice right now? Oh, you know, or or for whatever reason.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't even use that iteration of the idea. So that's something. There's something to say about that. That it's never. You start with an idea. You do a quick draft. You play with it. You ask people's opinion. I love this place because people are always giving you their opinion. Oh, change this, change that. Oh, I thought about this, and then you take that information. You go back.
Right.
Fix it, use their inspiration, use their feedback, and continue moving forward. You chip away until you have the best possible version of it.
And don't forget, have a deadline so people
so
people know when it's coming out, and they can be like, hey, you promised us this day. Where is it?
Yeah, people will hold you accountable.
Accountability. So how would you say CUTV has helped you in your own career?
How has CUTV
helped
me in my career?
Well, if you need help answering the question, you have people like Tamir and Marley that you've worked with. I believe you even participated in a snowball fight with Andre and company a few months back, or was it like a regular fist fight in the snow? Maybe I'm getting the story mixed up.
Yeah, no, we were just literally just trying to test out the equipment. It was a nice snowy day. We figured, hey, let's go create a battle royale in the field with a drone, 2 cameras, and we just decided, very impromptu shoot that we decided to do. But just to answer your question, maybe that's the answer. To me, CUTV was like, as soon as I walked in and I sort of saw the type of place it was and like the vibe that was going around, I felt like CUTV was the training ground. I said, okay, you know what? This is my time to, you know, when the hero is just in his village training, sharpening his blade and talking to the veterans, the older people, and just getting information, training, working out every day. I felt like this was the place to try a lot of things, try them fast, and learn from it.
Right.
This was like a school, I guess. Yeah, training ground, training camp. You're surrounded with people that you can exchange ideas with, that they can help you, you can help them. You have people that are maybe more experienced that can pass on the knowledge. You have all the equipment to try out. Just try it out. Try the shitty GoPro. Try the HMC. Try the Sony. Try different lenses. Try the different lightings. Try the green screen. Try to edit with Premiere. Try to edit with Illustrator, whatever.
Right.
And no one cares. If it sucks, it sucks.
Right.
It's probably gonna suck.
Yeah, which is kind of why I'm doing this. For those of you that don't know, I have never made a podcast before.
We go.
I I've listened to many podcasts.
Good.
And so I'm taking, what I know of them. Like, I know that the ones that I tend to gravitate towards are the ones that sound like a conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm learning how to do that. Obviously for the viewers, you can already tell this is an audio podcast, an audio only podcast. There's no video element, but at some point I would love to include video. I think it's fascinating to see the interviewees and the interviewers' reaction to what they're saying. Like, you're not just hearing the reflection in their voice, but you're actually seeing their facial expression. And not only that, I'm recording on a simple Zoom audio recorder. So this is a very bare bones project, but it's like the old saying, work, do what you can with what you have where you are. So when you start, you're gonna start very simply, because
Sorry, keep going.
you're gonna start very simply. So when you are right, okay, start simple and then move up from there. Yeah, start simple and move up from there. You so later on, yeah, I can get the very fancy audio mics and audio interface, hook it up to a computer and do it that way, and have cameras that can do long form video recording and all of that. But what the biggest thing is that I've learned over the years is that start when you're not ready, or do something when you're not ready, because if you wait till you're ready, you will never do it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So right now I'm working on my own project. I'm working on like this webcomic, and I've been writing it for the past 2 years now. And one of the things that at the time was holding me back was school. So it's like I was in my last year of school. That's when all the hard projects come out, and so I put the story on the side because your education is very important. Brilliant. So now it's like my current roommate, she's like, where's your webcomic? When are you gonna actually draw a panel? That's all I ask. And so I'm kind of like a perfectionist, similar to you, where it's like, when I write, I want the story to make sense. So I keep going back and editing little things. I don't want a character to just end up doing something, at the last second and make it a Deus Ex Machina, because then it's like, okay, there was no build up to it. I want it, like, if something big happens, then in my mind something small that is related needs to happen prior, so that when the audience sees it, even if it shocks them, it's not, oh well, this came out of nowhere. I wasn't anticipating this. But my roommate's like, I want to see the story. I am so interested in the concept. Where is it? So now I'm in a position where I need to get this story out, like, within a reasonable amount of time. Now that school is no longer my top priority anymore. Thank goodness. Yeah. It's no longer a top priority. But it's like, okay, here's something that I want to do, and now I have people expecting it of me. So now I really can't back down. Now I have to produce something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like, well, then what? It's like, why did you tell me you're doing this? You get me all excited, get my hopes up, and you don't deliver. You don't deliver.
Do it.
So
about being a perfectionist as well, I kind of realized lately that it's also, at least for me, yes, it's great. You want to create the best possible piece of work that you can, but to be honest, more often than not, it's kind of being used as a facade for insecurity.
Right.
You're like, it's kind of an excuse. Like, oh, I'm too good. It needs to be perfect, so I'm just not gonna finish it.
Right.
But you gotta just like let it go, learn from it, and go to the next.
Right.
There's something to be said about let me make the greatest film of all time, the greatest comic of all time, but you gotta make the distinction between, am I just scared that people will think it sucks, or am I actually working on it every single day, perfecting it?
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Like some of the um, most well remembered works were the works where the person wasn't even focused on the reception. I'll give you an example. A very old meme from like back in the day was like keyboard cat. Like this person literally recorded their cat on the keyboard, like you know, having like their arms straight out and just like tapping on the keys, and it went viral, like millions of views, and 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 to this day, I seriously doubt that the person who uploaded that video was focused on, okay, I gotta set up my cat in just the right position. I gotta get the angle just so, and I gotta make sure it's just good and just short enough where everyone's gonna like it. Yeah. No, they're not doing that. Or like, if you pull it back to film, what is considered the greatest film of all time? Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
It's like, Orson Welles, the director of Citizen Kane, was not producing the movie in order to appeal to audiences. Maybe that was part of the reason. I don't know. But the focus was that he was taking on, at the time, the largest giant in media. So the media at the time was the newspaper. I don't remember like who was the head of the newspaper corporation. What I do know is that Orson Welles was, you know, making a statement against this person. And because we as the audience, we like when you understand an artist's intent, the audience is more willing to accept the work. So that's just where I stand on that particular issue. So word of advice for aspiring artists, regardless of the medium: don't focus on what other people think. Yeah. Just make the work. People will have their own opinions. Just keep producing work, whether or not people will like it. But if enough people don't like it, then maybe it's a good idea to look into why people don't like it. But when you're starting out, just do it because you love it, or you want to see what you can do with the medium.
Absolutely.
So, kind of going back to, I'm kind of gonna combine like these two questions. So originally I had asked you, can you tell us about your most recent project? But maybe it'll be easier to answer if I were to ask you, what is one thing you hope to gain or feel like you have gained since joining CUTV?
Fearless.
Being fearless?
When I first joined, I was very worried about, again, being like, it needs to be perfect. I think here I learned that it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. So what? Once you enter it, once you take the approach that, okay, this is where I want to be. I want to be, let's say, Da Vinci.
Right.
I
Great example.
Da Vinci, right? Give me 10 years.
Da Vinci, the filmmaker.
Give me 10 years, I'll be Da Vinci. No, but let's, for example, let's be, in 10 years, I'm going to be Da Vinci.
Okay.
So until then, the next 10 years, it's going to suck. I'm not going to be anywhere near that level of work, that level of output, that level of quality. Even though you're progressing as you're learning your craft, learning, you're becoming professional. If you go at it with the approach that, you know what, yes, this is my work, but in my head, I want to be this. I want to be that level. So this is not even my finest work.
Right.
You're gonna be less attached to it. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly. Right? In my mind, it's just so clear.
Right.
Give me like 5 seconds.
Okay.
What am I trying to say?
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So I said, what is one thing you hope to gain or feel like you have gained since joining CUTV? So you said being fearless and that your work is going to suck and it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, exactly. Fearless with the work, with the output that you're creating, with your art. It's once you tell yourself that in 10, 15 years, you're going to achieve the level of work that you do want to achieve, that you want to achieve, that you're going to be your own version of Da Vinci. Anything after that, you're just a student. You're just a kid playing with crayons, and you should be happy about it. You're not going to give a little 5-year-old kid in preschool, tell him to draw a house and a tree. He's going to show it to you, and he's going to be like, man, this is the greatest piece of work of all time. I'm the best. But technically, it's not a great work, right? It's not it's not good, but from his or her perspective, it's amazing, and they're still learning. So for the next 10 years, I'm just like, hey, this is my video. It's awesome. I know I'm not at the level I want to be at, but for now, this is it. I'm just shooting free throws. If I miss a free throw it's fine.
Right.
I'm just training in my.
So what you're saying is, don't allow yourself to be caught up in the technical side of whatever it is you're trying to do. Just have fun.
You want to be caught up in. You want to make it great, of course, but it's more in terms of being attached to the work, like being shy about it or not wanting, or being. If people critique it, it's like, great, yeah, thank you, but I'll take it. Sure, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to improve. I'm not.
Like, don't make your current project the be all end all. Like, if I don't make it here, like if I don't make it with this project now, like I'm never gonna make it. Like, allow yourself to continue to learn and improve and see where the medium can take you, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I've noticed that a lot of people are held back by that. They're afraid that people will critique it. They're afraid that people will think it sucks. They're too hard on themselves. But they should just create, rinse, repeat, create, rinse, repeat, create, rinse, repeat.
Right. So you are developing your own production company. What is it called? And please tell the audience, what is it about? What are you trying to do with it?
Right, so it's called 8M. It's a content creation company, CCC. I have a partner in it. She's she's handling the social media aspect of it. I'm handling the video and photo aspect of it. And yeah, that way we're it's like a client service business. Right, so you're working for clients.
Right.
But the goal is to create a film, right?
Okay.
The goal is to create like an Avatar type film
An Avatar type film?
level, right? I've always wanted to do like a huge project.
So you're like, okay, I want James Cameron level
Absolutely.
CGI. I want it to look pretty. Obviously you're gonna bring in your own story and flavor to it, but in terms of the production quality, that is your vision.
Exactly. So going back to the genesis of the adventure, I've had these big ideas, these big visuals of the dragons tap dancing and all that.
Right.
I wanted to get that first, and I will get it. But really quickly, I realized that it's not going to happen in a week.
Right.
In a weekend.
Especially you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna have to find like dragon-sized tap dancing shoes. First of all.
Technology will catch up. It's fine. It's not going to happen in a year, maybe not even in a decade, which is fine. I'm not in a hurry. We'll be patient. But so I figured what I would do is start a client service business,
Okay.
which is 8M, gather a group of clients, family, friends, whatever. I wanted to build a sort of Avengers team, like the X-Men of clients.
The X-Men of clients now.
Exactly. I want like a family of people that we can count on each other.
Okay.
And everyone has kind of complementary skills and services and products. So maybe work with this chef who needs videos of his recipes done right now for Instagram, which is quite small, and you're like, oh, who cares? But probably in 10 years, if I need a caterer for this humongous project, I'm going for him. He's going to be it, and we're already going to have that relationship.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
If I need some crazy scooters on the project, like what's that film with the trucks that won the Oscar?
Transformers? No, wait. I don't think that.
Transformers.
No, the trucks. Good
No.
question. It won an Oscar.
It won George Miller or something? Not George Miller. Such a big film. Anyways, if I need like scooters or vehicles
Right.
for the project, I need like a Transformers type truck.
Right.
Then the guy who I'm doing his bike videos with probably will help. In 10 years he's going to grow and have like trucks probably and planes, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to be able to help out in that sense and supply those elements. I'm going to work with this little fashion company who makes t-shirts and pants and shoes. In 10 years maybe they're talented, right? They have bigger dreams as well. Maybe they're going to want to do the costumes for the film.
Ooh,
and the makeup artist that I'm doing the photo shoots with, she's going to do the makeup. She's going to have her own company and do the makeup for the project.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm hoping this will lead to.
Brilliant. So now that I have you here in this interview space, one thing I've been wanting to ask you for a while now. I've asked you this question multiple times, but now I can get it on the record. Finally, on the record. So a few months back, you and Marley were working on this. You and Marley were working on this video project. So for those of you that don't know, CUTV is located in Montreal, Canada, and so you guys were in like the metro stations.
Yes.
Marley was in his own getup, and you were filming him in the metro station, in the like on the train itself. Marley was doing like either sitting down, standing up, doing his own little dance moves. Please enlighten the audience. What was the purpose of this little adventure you two went on?
The purpose, just to have fun.
Okay, maybe I should. Let me rephrase that. What story were you two trying to tell?
So with Marley, I find that we like to take things that people are familiar with, like take something that everyone is very familiar with and give it and make it extraordinary. Make it surreal.
Surreal.
Make it stand out so people actually notice it.
So, okay, so people use the metro every day to get to and from work, school, whatever. How would the metro stand out with your video? Because you have to be pretty aware when you're going into the metro. You're not just going through a door and you're there. You have to go down stairs and escalators. Like, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to make sure that you have money to get through the turnstiles and things like that. So how are you making the metro stand out more than currently?
Yeah, I would take the metro every day to go around the city. That's such a, especially in the winter, it's a great way to get around the city. We have a good transit system, and I found myself, and obviously just by looking at others, people would enter this sort of like zombie state. I found when you would take the metro, you're kind of like, damn, I have to go to work, I'm tired, all that, go to school.
Right.
But I found that the Montreal Metro was really beautiful. There's awesome geometric shapes. There's like the sound of it. If you just close your eyes and pay attention to the sound with the doo-doo-doo, it's melodic, and the train tracks and the people talking and the it's really quite an experience. And then there's above your head, there's like minus 40-degree weather, a snowstorm, and just like that, you go underground, go from point A to point B, enter this like underworld of people that are like in a zombie state, and just like that, you go back into the city and you finish what you have to do. So that's kind of what we were trying to portray through the video, which was shot like super, super, super spontaneous.
Right.
We just had the idea, hey, let's go to the metro, we'll figure it out once we get there.
But it wasn't, but like I've seen like the clips, and they're very well thought out. Like, you have top down shots, you had like a super wide shot where Marley was going up the stairs, but then you manipulated it in Premiere, and you had the clip go in like 360 degrees, so it felt very it would give the viewer a sense of vertigo. There was one shot where you had him, the camera was right up next to a giant mirror. So the way it would look, it's like, oh, like there's there's not just two of him, but like the reflection of the space as well. And then there were shots where the train would pass and Marley would just be sitting down. So like some of these things you definitely would have had to have thought of. So, I mean, I totally get what you mean by the spontaneousness, but there's also you were very particular with the types of shots that you chose to get. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is what, because like, let's be honest, the metro, like in all intents and purposes, well, most of them they're a pretty depressing place to be in. Like, shut off the lights, it's like you're not going to be able to see anything down there. Uh-huh. So, I know you said you were, spontaneousness and spontaneity, and you're trying to bring out this location that we all use, we're not really paying attention to, but when I saw the footage, it looked very depressing.
Yeah. Very
depressing. There was even a shot where Marley was just standing there and all these people were just passing him by. Yeah. So what are you trying to say? Especially because the way Marley was dressed, he really stood out.
He really stood out, for sure. It was kind of we didn't take it too literally. It was more of a kind of like a more abstract stream of consciousness. How do you feel when you're in the metro, and how do you portray that visually, right? When you come out of the metro during rush hour, and there's literally people passing you by from all angles. Some people are running, they'll bump you, and then if you're not necessarily in a rush, you're just walking around, and you're like, whoa, what is going on? I'm just trying to... It's kind of overwhelming at times, and we were trying to portray the emotion behind going nowhere fast.
Ah, right, yes.
Yes, and I think you can see that in the video. Having ambition, having goals, and not achieving them. How does that feel?
Right.
How does that feel? You're trying to go somewhere, you're rushing to get there, and it's just not happening. You see the trains passing you by. Like, damn, I missed another one. Right.
Especially when it's rush hour and it's like the cars are packed and it's like you couldn't get on even if you wanted to. So it's like
it's too late. Wait for the next one. So I was saying that it was kind of spontaneous because we went there multiple times. The first go around, we kind of grabbed the camera. John Moon was there, and we freestyled it a bit. I had certain shots in mind, but it wasn't too calculated. After that, we went back to the drawing board. I looked at all the shots, and after that, I really made a shot list, and I had a log with all the stations, the types of shots, the type of cameras, the action that he needs to take. After that, I really went in, and it was calculated.
So for the audience, you know, they've been getting so many juicy details on this project. So do you have a deadline for this? Is it out already? Can people watch it?
So we started an Instagram page for Marley, for him to kind of brand himself and showcase some of that work. We're slowly dropping pictures from the shoot here and there. We don't have a hard deadline yet, but they're close to Griffintown. They used old metro carts and they put them in an empty field, and they're turning it into a stage, kind of a picnic area for the city, for the residents.
Okay.
So this is going to happen all summer 2018, and we're hoping to maybe show the video there and maybe have a little performance from Marley, have a little show where we showcase the video, have little frames of the pictures, and he does a performance at the end of the event.
Okay.
So this is kind of a deadline for us. This is a goal for us to kind of wrap this project up, a little cherry on top of the sundae. So yeah, by summer 18 it's going to be done, and hopefully you guys can all come to the event.
Well, Yanis, thank you so much for coming on and doing this interview.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you. People, I wanted to support your podcast, and this is what CUTV is about. People have project ideas. Are you in? Yeah, I'm in. Of course I'm in. Tell me when.
Yes, thank you. So for our listeners, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you can also follow us on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Instagram, and on the CUTV website. Again, Yanis, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Peace.